After my husband orchestrated a crash to kill me and my unborn baby, I exposed his insurance plot and had him arrested fast. Now, it is time for our special story hour. I smiled at the children gathered before me in the library's children's corner, where soft morning light was streaming in. As I sat down on my small round chair, I could feel the comfortable weight of my 8-month pregnant belly. It was as if the baby inside was also looking forward to the story we were about to begin. Today, we are going to read about an elephant who wants to fly. When I opened the large picture book, small exclamations of delight rose from the children. After 5 years of fertility treatments, we were finally blessed with this precious life. Now, as I sit here surrounded by children reading picture books, I truly feel grateful for choosing this career. The elephant said, "I have a dream. I want to have big wings and fly above the white clouds." As I continued reading the story, I occasionally stroked my belly gently. Sometimes I still cannot believe this feeling is real. After years of waiting, Gregory and I are finally going to be parents. Just last night, we were lying in bed discussing baby names. As always, no matter what names I suggested, he would give me that gentle smile and say, "Whatever name you choose will be perfect, dear." When story time ended, the children gathered around me as usual. "Teacher, when is the baby coming? Is it a boy or a girl? Have you picked a name?" I answered their curious questions with gentle patience. About another month to go. As for whether it is a boy or girl, we want it to be a surprise. Through the library's large windows, I could see the clear autumn sky. The leaves were starting to change color, marking the transition of seasons. This afternoon, Gregory was planning to leave work early so we could go shopping for baby items together. During lunch break, I got a call from him. His voice was as warm and steady as always. "We will definitely find the perfect crib today. I want only the best for our baby." I could not help but smile at his words. 7 years of marriage, and he has always put me first like this. Even with his demanding role as sales director at a major construction company, he always makes time for family. I am truly grateful for such a thoughtful husband. While organizing materials in the library's reading room, I was daydreaming about our shopping trip tonight. I had already researched several stores online. They all had such lovely cribs, and I could not wait to see them in person. Though Gregory said, "Do not worry about the price, choose whatever you like," I knew I should try to be reasonable. The baby moved slightly in my belly, as if saying, "Let us go look soon." I instinctively placed my hand on my stomach and whispered quietly, "Soon, sweetheart. Mommy and Daddy are going to prepare everything together to welcome you." The afternoon library was quieter than usual. Outside the window, autumn winds gently rustled the trees. It felt like this peaceful, everyday life would continue forever. At 6 o'clock post-meridian, warm light illuminated the large display windows of Pottery Barn Kids. Remembering the morning at the library, my heart swelled with anticipation. Hand in hand with Gregory, who had left work early to come with me, we slowly entered the store. Soft lighting filled the interior, and Christmas decorations were starting to appear here and there, though it was only October. Preparations for the season had already begun. Outside, it was already dark, and a cold autumn rain had started falling quietly. "Look, Rebecca, what do you think of this crib?" Where Gregory pointed stood an elegant crib made of white wood. Delicate carvings adorned the rails, and the headboard curved gracefully. It looked like something straight out of a fairy tale. "It is beautiful." Sensing the emotion in my voice, Gregory smiled with satisfaction. His smile held its usual gentleness, mixed with something that seemed like pride. Everything we had waited for these past 7 years was finally becoming reality. The difficult days of fertility treatments, the times we nearly gave up, the days we kept holding on to hope, it all led to this moment. Watching his profile as he asked the sales clerk for detailed information, I felt once again how fortunate I was to have chosen him. The safety features are perfect. It meets not only United States safety standards, but also strict European requirements. Gregory nodded seriously at the clerk's explanation. I was already captivated by this crib. As I gently touched the white wood, I could naturally envision our baby sleeping here. "Let us get this one." Gregory immediately agreed with my decision. "If you like it, that is what matters most." His typical response. After completing the paperwork, delivery was scheduled for next weekend. Now, let us get dinner for you hungry ones." At Gregory's suggestion, we headed to the nearby Olive Garden. In the car, we talked about the baby's future. If it is a girl, I bet she will love books just like you. Boys can love books too, you know. True. I would like to teach them baseball too. Our time at the restaurant was filled with happy conversation. Over pasta, we discussed potential baby names. When Gregory suggested Emily, I felt the baby jump in my belly. Oh my, it looks like this little one likes that name too. Outside the window, the rain was getting heavier. The clock showed 8 o'clock post-meridian. We needed to hurry home. As we turned onto Green Bay Road, the rain intensified. The streetlights reflected off the raindrops, creating a dreamlike scene. Trees lining both sides of the road swayed in the wind, casting eerie shadows that were distorted and erased by passing headlights of oncoming cars. Quiet Mozart played on the radio, creating a strange harmony with the sound of rain. Despite the wipers running at full speed, visibility ahead was clouded. Gregory was driving more cautiously than usual. "Be careful," he nodded gently at my words. The car interior was filled with classical music and a peaceful atmosphere. That is when we saw bright lights in the oncoming lane. The blinding headlights of a large truck approached at an abnormal speed. Gregory turned the wheel. A violent impact. The sound of metal creaking, shattering glass fragments. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. Before losing consciousness, I desperately tried to protect my belly with both hands. This life, this precious little life, had to be protected. The morning story time, the afternoon phone call with Gregory. The happy moments choosing the crib. These memories raced through my mind like a film reel. I could still feel the sensation of the baby's last movement in my palm. "It is okay. Mommy will protect you," I repeated in my mind over and over. Darkness was approaching. Somewhere in the distance I could hear the sound of ambulance sirens. When I came to, an unfamiliar ceiling met my eyes, a white, pure white ceiling. The smell of disinfectant stung my nose. A hospital. How much time had passed? The regular beeping of medical equipment, the sound of dripping intravenous fluids, the small green light of the monitor blinking in the darkness, the rhythmic sound of the ventilator like someone's breathing. Everything felt surreal, as if I were watching someone else's story from the outside. Yet the pain throughout my body confronted me with reality. The bandages wrapped around my chest, the intravenous needle in my arm, the dull pain enveloping my entire body. Gradually, I began to understand. This was reality. Trying to move, sharp pain shot through me. That is when I noticed something was wrong. When I placed my hand on my stomach, it was flat. That large bump was gone. With my confused mind, I tried desperately to understand the situation. Memories came back in fragments, rain, lights. The door to the room opened, and Gregory entered, not in his usual dashing appearance. His shoulders were slumped, his eyes red and swollen. "Rebecca," he stood by my bedside and said in a trembling voice. The baby could not be saved. Those words fell heavily in the hospital room. A single tear rolled down Gregory's cheek. Then, without saying anything more, he quietly left the room. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry out loud, but no voice would come. All I could do was bury my face in the pillow and let the unstoppable tears flow. Chicago's autumn sky was as gray as my heart. The only sounds breaking the silence in the hospital room were the dripping of 2 intravenous fluids, the regular beeping of the heart monitor, and the occasional footsteps of medical staff passing in the hallway. The smell of disinfectant lingered in the room, its sterile scent confronting me with reality, a patient identification band on my wrist, a pulse oximeter on my finger, and a blood pressure cuff wrapped around my left arm. Cords extended from 3 electrodes on my chest to the monitor. Since Gregory had left with heavy steps, though the clock hands must have been moving steadily, my sense of time had become completely vague. Each time a nurse came to check my blood pressure, I silently extended my arm. They exchanged only the minimum necessary words, being considerate. I placed my hand on my belly. The presence of life that should have been there was gone. In my heart, I repeated words of apology over and over. "I am sorry, I could not protect you." The tears showed no signs of stopping. Beyond the curtain, I could occasionally hear the footsteps of nurses passing in the hallway. Everyone seemed to be walking more quietly than usual. Were they sympathizing with my grief? Or could they sense the feeling of loss hanging in this room? White lilies in the vase by the window swayed quietly. Who had brought them? Was it Gregory or my colleagues from the library? My memory was hazy and unclear. I have lost two things, I whispered softly. One was our long-awaited baby, the other was the happy daily life we had until that day. Neither would ever return. Breaking the silence, the room's door slowly opened. It was Dr. Sarah Watson. I had heard from the nurses that she was a veteran obstetrician-gynecologist with 25 years of experience at this hospital. The weary doctor in her mid-50s had been checking on me daily as my attending physician. "Rebecca, how are you feeling?" Her usual gentle tone, but today was different. Her expression carried a tension unlike usual. "The pain is still there, but better with the medication." The doctor quietly nodded at my response. Then she turned toward the door, making a gesture as if confirming something. "I have something important to discuss with you today." Dr. Watson sat in the chair by my bedside. In her hands, she held an unfamiliar stack of documents. "We received a call from the police." At those words, I felt my heart stop for a moment. Police? Why? Was it just an accident report? "A detailed investigation has been conducted regarding the accident." The doctor took a deep breath and paused as if choosing her words. "Rebecca, what I am about to tell you is very shocking." Dr. Watson took another deep breath, checking the medical records and magnetic resonance imaging images in her hands. Her demeanor carried a tension unusual for a veteran doctor with 25 years of experience. She straightened her back and lowered her voice. "We received a detailed investigation report from the Chicago police. There were multiple surveillance cameras at the accident scene on Green Bay Road. Analysis of the footage shows." The doctor paused briefly, looking at me as if checking my condition. The heart monitor's beeping had become slightly faster. "The oncoming truck intentionally changed lanes and aimed to collide with your car." And Dr. Watson's hands were visibly trembling. "There is evidence that the truck driver had been in contact with your husband, Gregory. Phone records, bank account transactions, all evidence suggests this was a planned crime." Dr. Watson's voice trembled slightly. "The police believe that your husband, Gregory, is likely involved in this." My mind went blank. There was a ringing in my ears. The heart monitor beeping suddenly accelerated, and he may still be trying to take your life. At that moment, there was a knock on the hospital room door, and 3 people entered. The man in front stepped forward, showing his police badge. "I am Detective Michael Ryan with the Chicago Police. Behind me are Detective the First V. Johnson and Parker." The man around 45 wore a gray suit with a blue tie. His badge and gun carried an undeniable presence. The 2 detectives behind him wore jackets over bulletproof vests and carried radios. "We are now initiating protective measures for Rebecca Anderson." Detective Ryan continued his explanation while taking out a layout of the hospital room. "We have already stationed police officers at the entrances and exits of this ward. We have also installed additional surveillance cameras in the elevator hall and emergency stairwells. Additionally, a female police officer will be stationed at the nursing station 24 hours a day." Detective Parker moved to the window, checking for possible external intrusion points. Detective Johnson took up a monitoring position in the hallway. "Rebecca, your room number has been hidden in the hospital system, and all visitors will undergo identity verification beforehand." Also, the detective paused and lowered his voice. "Gregory Anderson is currently under surveillance. The possibility that he might try to make contact. Rebecca, I know this is difficult, but..." Detective Ryan approached my bedside. "Could you tell us about the details of the day of the accident? As much as you are able to?" My mind was still refusing to accept reality. The baby that was there until this morning, our long-awaited child, and my husband of 7 years. Was it all a lie? The intravenous fluid bottle became empty, triggering an alarm. A nurse immediately came to replace it with a new one. Her name tag read Allison Kelly. As she smiled kindly at me, tears suddenly welled up. I cannot believe it. Until this morning, everything was normal. Feelings that could not be put into words welled up. The heart monitor began beeping faster again. The blood pressure cuff automatically activated, beginning to inflate. Take deep breaths and try to stay calm. Dr. Watson gently held my hand. That warmth paradoxically intensified the sense of reality. The detective continued quietly while checking the bedside chart. 3 weeks ago, Gregory Anderson took out a large life insurance policy. He was the beneficiary. and 2 days before the accident, he contacted his mistress, Jessica Taylor. Outside the window, an ambulance siren wailed. As that sound faded away, my consciousness gradually began to fade too. In the conference room that had become the police temporary command center at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Detective Ryan was meticulously analyzing multiple surveillance camera footage displayed on a large monitor with experts. The time was 8:12 post-meridian, 3 minutes before the accident. Headlights of cars driving on the rain-wet road, illuminated by street lamps, formed white streaks. Please confirm the movement of this large truck. Synchronize the footage from all cameras with the time code. The monitor displayed simultaneous footage from 6 surveillance cameras, store security cameras, intersection traffic cameras, nearby business security cameras. Each angle clearly recorded the situation just before the accident. Here it is, an unnatural movement at this moment. Video analyst Tom Wilson pointed at the screen. Indeed, the large truck had made an unnatural deceleration before the intersection, coming to a complete stop. It waited there for about 30 seconds. Then, as if confirming our car's approach, it suddenly began rapid acceleration. These are the phone records of the driver, Mark Jenkins. Detective Johnson spread out the documents. 5 incoming calls from Gregory 2 hours before the accident. Each call lasted less than a minute. And the final call, 30 minutes before the accident, duration 3 minutes and 12 seconds. The bank account movements are also suspicious. Documents sent from the digital forensics unit were displayed on the screen one after another. A transfer of $100,000 from Gregory's personal account to an account under a fictitious company name. From that account, $50,000 was moved to Jenkins's account. The remaining $50,000 had not moved yet. This is... Detective Ryan opened new footage, a gas station security camera from 2 days before the accident. Gregory was talking with an unknown woman in a car. When enlarged, the woman's profile was clearly visible. Jessica Taylor, 28 years old, a new sales employee who joined Gregory Anderson's company 6 months ago. Her identification photo was displayed: long black hair, intelligent features with refined looks. According to her resume, she graduated from university with excellent grades and had achieved results in her previous job. Their relationship appears to have begun about 4 months ago. Hotel security cameras, restaurant witness statements, cell phone message history, electronic device forensics analysis revealed evidence of their relationship, one after another. Encrypted message app conversations were discovered on Gregory's company-issued iPhone, and most decisively, an encrypted email Gregory sent to Jessica the day before the accident. The specialized unit's decryption revealed clear intent: tomorrow night it will all be over. As promised, let us start our new life. Word came in from investigation headquarters. A passport and $500,000 in cash were found in Gregory's home. Preparations for overseas flight. The suspect is now heading to the hospital. At 3:45 post-meridian, Gregory Anderson arrived at the hospital. The moment he tried to enter the underground parking garage, 2 plainclothes detectives quietly approached and stopped his vehicle. "Gregory Anderson, you are under arrest for attempted murder," Detective Ryan announced while showing his police badge. Gregory showed a momentary look of surprise, but quickly returned to an expressionless face. During the arrest search, a handgun was found in the inner pocket of his jacket. "I invoke my right to remain silent," words spoken matter-of-factly in his back as he was placed in the patrol car. "I felt the end of 7 years of marriage." The elevator security camera captured his ascending figure: 5th floor, 6th floor, 7th floor. "Wait!" Detective Ryan stared intently at the screen. Something was visible inside Gregory's jacket. Possible firearm. Repeat, possible firearm. Radio chatter flew frantically. Just before reaching the 10th floor where my room was, the elevator made an emergency stop. When the doors opened, a fully armed special response team surrounded him. "Gregory Anderson, you are under arrest for attempted murder." The mask of the sales director with a brilliant career fell away in an instant. As expected, a handgun was found under his jacket. "I invoke my right to remain silent," cold words thrown out. Those would be his last words as a husband. At the same time, at Chicago O'Hare International Airport's International Terminal, Jessica Taylor, who was trying to complete check-in procedures for British Airways flight BA 294 to London Heathrow, was already surrounded by plainclothes officers. The moment she presented her passport at the baggage counter, airport police quietly approached. Miss Jessica Taylor. Her expression froze as she turned around. A luxury brand suitcase, new passport, an airline ticket booked under an alias. From her carry-on bag, they found documents needed to open a UK bank account and $95,000 in cash. Her notebook contained detailed listings of apartment properties in London's Mayfair district. Everything had gone according to plan, except for the arrest. I invoke my right to remain silent. Please call my lawyer, a voice that sounded calm. However, her trembling hands betrayed her agitation. 15 minutes later, in a residential area of Gary, Indiana, a joint team of Federal Bureau of Investigation and state police surrounded Mark Jenkins's family home. His white pickup truck with a child's seat had been fitted with a new bumper to erase traces of the accident, but the mechanic's testimony had already revealed the fact of the modification. He immediately began confessing during questioning. Anderson said he would give me $50,000 if I helped with the insurance fraud. At first, it was just supposed to look like an accident, but on the day, he said, "Make sure you finish them off." A confession spoken with a trembling voice in the interrogation room. Attempted murder for insurance money overlapped with plans to flee with a mistress. What should have been the perfect crime crumbled easily under thorough investigation. In my hospital room, Dr. Watson quietly told me the conclusion of the case. "Rebecca, it is all right now. All three have been arrested." Outside the window, the rain had cleared for the first time in a while. A ray of light broke through the dark clouds. It seemed to herald the beginning of a new life. The defendant, Gregory Anderson, is hereby sentenced to 18 years imprisonment for attempted murder and attempted insurance fraud. Cook County Court, Illinois. As the judge's voice quietly echoed, I watched his back from the gallery. The truth revealed during the trial far exceeded my imagination. According to the defendant's testimony, this was a premeditated crime motivated by money. The prosecutor's voice resonated heavily in the courtroom. It was a despicable crime aimed at obtaining massive life insurance proceeds and fleeing abroad with his mistress. In his final statement, Gregory spoke for the first time. "I was cornered by company debt. When I met Jessica, I dreamed of a new life. But for that..." At those words, I closed my eyes. Were 7 years of marriage that lied to him? Jessica Taylor received a 5-year prison sentence. She spoke tearfully in court. "When I met Gregory, I thought I had found true love, but I was wrong. Maybe I was just fooled by his lies. 1 year after the incident, I had started a new life in Newton, outside Boston. Light streams gently through the windows of the library's children's book corner, illuminating the bookshelves. Rebecca, the manuscript for your new picture book was wonderful. My colleague Sarah speaks to me kindly. I had begun writing children's books. The protagonist is a small bird who finds a new path after overcoming difficulties. Thank you. I put a bit of my own experience into this story. On weekends, I participate in victim support group activities, meeting people with similar experiences. We help heal each other's emotional wounds. There I learned that I was not alone. Hearing everyone's experiences has given me the courage to move forward. The participants quietly nod at my words in the support group. Though carrying sadness, each person is walking their own path. At my new workplace in the Boston Public Library, no one pries into my past. Just days spent as a librarian, sharing the wonder of books with children. Sometimes, I still place my hand on my belly, but not from backward-looking emotions. Because that child was there, I was able to change. Outside the window, maple leaves shine in the autumn sunlight, as if announcing the beginning of a new season. As I sit here in the quiet of my old apartment, staring at the faded photographs on the wall, waves of emotion crash over me like they did that fateful day. My name is Elena, and the story of how I lost everything and somehow found myself again still brings tears to my eyes, even years later. It all began with the accident. That rainy night when I received the call about my parents. I remember dropping the phone, my heart shattering into a million pieces. They were my anchors, the ones who taught me to dream big despite our humble beginnings. Losing them felt like the world had ended. Grief consumed me, nights blurred into days of endless crying, isolation, and a numbness that made even breathing feel heavy. I pushed away friends, quit my job, and wandered through life like a ghost, questioning why the universe would take away the only family I had left. But amid the darkness, there was a flicker of light, my little brother Alex. He was just a teenager then, scared and broken too. Taking him in became my lifeline. Caring for him forced me to get up each morning, to cook meals I had no appetite for, to pretend I was strong when inside I was crumbling. Those moments of holding him as he sobbed, promising we'd make it through together, they healed me in ways I never expected. Love, I learned, isn't just joy, it's the raw, painful commitment to show up, even when your soul aches. Then came the betrayal that nearly broke me again. My fiancé, the man I thought I'd build a future with, left when things got too hard. "I can't handle this," he said, packing his bags. The rejection stung deeper than the grief, making me doubt my worth. Was I too damaged, too burdened? For months, anger boiled inside me. Anger at him, at fate, at myself for trusting so blindly. I felt unlovable, fragile, like one more blow would end me. Yet, in the depths of that pain, something shifted. I started therapy, joined a support group, and slowly rebuilt. I went back to school, pursued the art career my parents always encouraged. Alex grew into a remarkable young man, and watching him thrive filled me with pride that mended my fractured heart. Today, as I paint in my studio, surrounded by colors that once seemed dull, I feel gratitude overwhelming the sorrow. This journey taught me resilience isn't the absence of pain, it's dancing through it. I've cried rivers, screamed into pillows, and questioned everything. But I've also laughed again, loved deeper, and discovered a strength I never knew. To anyone walking a similar path, it's okay to fall apart. The pieces can be put back together, often into something more beautiful. My heart still aches on quiet nights, but it's fuller now. Scarred, yes, but open. And for that, I'm eternally thankful.